going on? What's happening? What's good? Part of my presence YouTube channel. Look, I want to get on this whole McDonald's situation that's going on, where you have a father who's coming to the house of his baby's mother, and he's coming to bring McDonald's for his child that he has with her. However, the mother has 4 other children in the household that do not belong to that particular father, and the mother is pretty much telling the guy, look, you can't bring McDonald's just for one child when I have 4 other children here. And the man's argument is that, well, they're not my kids, I only have 1 child, so I'm only bringing McDonald's for 1 child. Now, that was a mouthful. Now, before I get into this further, it was revealed later on that this was staged. It's not real. These people are actors doing this for clout. It was a sketch type of comedy. Now, that's been happening for quite a while on the internet, especially with Instagram and people trying to get their followers up. So you have to be very careful as to what you discuss and what you take seriously, and don't let things trigger you. However, it is important to point out that these situations could very well happen in households, and as a result of that, I think it's important to have this conversation, just to point out a few things and highlight some things to prevent men and women from getting into these pitfalls where they have these arguments and have these confrontations, because it is completely unnecessary. Now, many of you will probably think because I'm a father that I would side with this particular man here. And, you know, at first I kind of did, you know, like, why should I be paying for other children that don't belong to me and bring them McDonald's when I only have 1 son with you? I'm going to bring my son McDonald's because that is the only responsibility that I have. If you have a problem with the other children not getting McDonald's, then you could speak to their fathers and ensure that they get the proper fast food or junk food that they want. That's how I thought of it at first. But then I listened to the Star Report, and I got a broader view of the situation, and I kind of changed my mind, because here's the thing. Number one, when as a man you decide to mess around with a woman, if you find out that she has children, you have to make a decision. Number one, you have to make a decision. If this is not going to be a long-term relationship or long-term commitment, then you have to let that be known with the woman from the bat, from the jump, right? Because then you want to make sure she knows not to invest her emotions into this. This is just a fun thing. This is just something that we're doing in the meantime for the summer. Who knows? But you want it to be very clear that you are not looking to play stepdaddy. You're not looking to play provider. You're not even looking to procreate with her, because she already has her children. That's her family. There's nothing more to be added to that. But if you decide that you want to pursue this in a long-term situation, if you decide that you want to play stepdaddy and that you want to explore the option of you marrying this woman, then you have to understand that you are also marrying and assuming responsibility of her existing children. Whether or not the other fathers are in the picture, that doesn't matter, because if you're marrying the woman and you're going to be living with her, then the children that she also takes care of and that she lives with will be living with you. So you are going to become a stepdaddy. Now, I want this to be clear. I have nothing against stepdaddies. I have the ultimate respect for stepfathers. We need more stepfathers. You want me to be completely honest. We need more stepfathers. But the stepfather has to be a father that's responsible, that understands his role, that is willing to make that sacrifice to take care of not only his potential child, but also the children of other men while they are in the household. And that's a huge responsibility. And people who are not serious about relationships need not apply. Okay, so that's number one. Number two in the situation, did it ever occur to this father the type of environment that you're creating for your son, right? If you recall in that video, his child was the youngest child. There's 4 other siblings. They may be all boys. They might be a group of, brothers and sisters. We don't know, but we know that they're older. There might be, some of them might even be teenagers. But when you're given McDonald's to only 1 child, and that child is going to go into the house or the kitchen and he's going to eat McDonald's all by himself while the other four siblings are, or who are being neglected, who are starving, who are not being taken care of by their fathers according to how the scenario is presented. What do you think they're going to do? If any of y'all had siblings, then you know how deep the rivalry could get. And if they see that this particular child is getting McDonald's and they're not getting McDonald's, what do you think is going to happen in the house? You put a big target on the back of your son or your daughter. You're making sure that the other siblings are going to find issue with this and are going to dislike this particular half sibling. Remember, it's half, because they don't share the same fathers, they only share the same mothers. So there's already a distance right there. And you're just creating a situation where your child is going to be either fighting off the other siblings to make sure that they get the most of their McDonald's, or you're putting your child in a situation where they're going to get their shit taken and they're not going to get any of the McDonald's. Maybe a couple of fries here and there, but majority of the food is going to go right to those kids anyways. And a matter of time, you're going to see that the more you're going to give your child McDonald's thinking that everything is cool, what you're really doing is putting your child in a scenario where they're going to get violated. And your child might even resent you. Why are you bringing me McDonald's, Dad? I don't want McDonald's. He might even tell you why. But he's going to be looking at it and says, no, you can't put this target on my back, right? So he's going to have that issue. Not only that, he's going to have an issue where he might decide to be diplomatic and say, you know what, whatever my dad gives me, I'm going to share with my other siblings anyways. He might not tell you. You might think that you're doing a great job providing food for your son and nobody else. Meanwhile, you don't even know that you're already feeding the rest of the household anyways. So why, if you're going to do this, why give the food to the mother, or why give the food to the child and let the child fend for themselves? What you should be doing is taking your child out of that environment, take them out, go to wherever you want to go, Burger King, Chuck E. Cheese, Chalet, wherever you want to go, treat them to a nice meal, and then before you drop them off, you tell them, son, don't tell any other siblings the amount of fun that we had today. And then you drop them off, and then your son goes back into the house with a full stomach, with no issues, and no one's going to be upset at him because they have no idea what happened, right? That's how you're supposed to approach this if you're going to do it this way. Otherwise, what you should do, if you're not willing to take your son out of that environment, then you don't just put a target on your son's back in that environment. What you do instead is you be diplomatic about it. You, instead of buying McDonald's, which what nowadays a Happy Meal is like $15-20, why don't you buy something from a grocery store? Frozen hamburgers, beef patties, get a bun, buy all these different things for the household. And in that way, you give it to the mother. Now the mother is able to cook for all of the siblings. And not only are those siblings going to look at you like you're someone that they like and appreciate, but also going to look out for your son because that is their half brother, and their half brother has a father that is considerate and that's looking out for all of them. They're going to be more receptive to your child, the youngest, the most vulnerable. So you want to make sure that you're approaching this the right way, in a diplomatic way. You're thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead, right? That's how you should be approaching this. Now, what this guy did instead was more of a selfish tip, more of a spiteful tip, and more of a short-sighted tip, because he's not realizing the amount of damage he's causing his child by putting such a target on his back by only giving him McDonald's, because the other children are going to resent him. So look, I don't want to put too much more thought and time into this. Salute to all the stepfathers who have stepped up and who actually cared to take care of not only their own child, but the children of others, right? And they understand that it takes a village to raise children. So salute to them. Also salute to the men who wear condoms, who understand not to get tripped up in the situation, and understand that if there is a woman that they're messing with that already has children, then you have to be extra careful not to have your own child and bust off into them raw, because you're going to end up in this particular scenario. So please protect yourself, protect your future, your trajectory, your potential, and don't mess around with women who have multiple children by multiple fathers who are not in the picture. Because if you're someone who is more responsible, who is willing to be an active participant in your child's life, you're also going to be fitting the bill for any other children that she may have. So be wise, not wisely, as I've said before, and be careful in what you stick your dick in, because it's very important that you trust yourself and your instincts more than you trust a woman's self and her instincts, because at the end of the day, she's going to do what's best for her. She's not going to do what's best for you. Be careful, guys. Understand what's at stake. Understand that once you have a child with a woman like this, you lose a lot of control, and you now have to think like a father for the entire household, not just for the one child. And that is something that's not of a selfish thing, it's more so of a concern and safety thing for your own child. Because if you're a real father and you really care about your child, you're not going to put your child in a situation where they're going to have a target on their back, where they're going to get beat up by their siblings, their half siblings, like I said before, where they're not going to feel like they're being attacked because their father's in the picture while the other children's fathers are not in the picture. So be wise. Be wise. If you got to take your child out of that environment and assume 100% custody, then do so. If you got to assume 50-50 custody, then do so. But make sure you protect your children at all costs once you have them. And make sure you understand, if you don't want to have children, if you don't want to have baby mama drama, then wrap it up, because at the end of the day, it's your seed. And once you give your seed away, you lose control. That's all I want to say about the situation. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, part of my presence, I'm out. Peace.